Hey everyone, what's up? OddBall Comics here. So today, we're going to continue with the story of Venom. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper on what's going on with Knull, Venom, and Miles Morales. So, let's find out. As a short recap of what happened last time, we essentially see Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote going crazy. They're not really in control no more. And when we come to find out, Rex, a retired S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, ends up helping them, showing them the way, when they end up meeting Knull, the Grendel symbiote, and Miles Morales. We start off in a red-soaked room with Knull standing up, reaching towards Spider-Man and Eddie, sending specifically Eddie into a trance, showing the story of how he came to be. So we're going to go a little in depth in Knull's origin. Knull was an ancient, malevolent deity whose existence predates the universe itself, and it was originally drifting through the endless abyss that existed before time began. But when the Celestials began creating the universe, Knull was awakened and he retaliated by creating a living sword named All Black, and with this, killing one of the Celestials. After the murder, he was cast into a void by the other Celestials. He ended up using the head of the Celestials as a forge to temper his living sword and its cosmic energies, intent on devouring the divine light that was attacking his kingdom of darkness. Knull manifested a symbiotic suit of armor. He ended up commanding and embarked on a genocide against the other gods. But, badly wounded in combat, Knull crash landed on a desolate planet where his symbiote sword left him for one indigenous inhabitant, Gore, later known as the God Butcher, but we're not going to dig into that part right now. So after recovering from his injuries, Knull discovered that he can create parasitic entities just like symbiotes out of the living abyss, bonding them to lesser life forms in order to assemble an army with which to conquer planets and devour entire civilizations. But over the course of several billion years, however, during the 6th century, a dragon-like composite symbiote under Knull's control arrived on Earth, where it was named the Grendel. And with this, it was actually defeated by Thor, severing Knull's connection to the vast majority of symbiotes. As the symbiotes bonded to random hosts, the hive mind becoming tainted with notions of honor and nobility, leading to them rebelling against their god and imprisoning him at the heart of an artificial planet they called Clintar. We cut over to Spider-Man starting to wake up when he overhears the plan to invade Earth once he has his last few pieces of the Grendel symbiote. And with this, Miles jumps into action, punching Knull with his Venom blast and begins to tear open the wall. But when he looks out, he realizes he's in the outer layer of the atmosphere, riding in the stomach of the Grendel symbiote. He grabs Eddie and jumps out of the stomach, falling towards the Earth. Miles starts punching Eddie in the face, yelling, "Venom! Eddie! One of you lunatics just wake up already!" And with this, they both wake up, and Miles and Eddie begin to argue as the symbiote yells for him to just listen. He says to grab Spider-Man and go limp. Just trust us. And with this, Venom sprouts giant dragon-like wings, just like the Grendel symbiote. Still holding on to Miles as they make their descent back to Earth, he ends up leaving him on the same building where they first met, as Venom flies into the alley. After landing there, he begins to wonder what happened, why is he here, and since when do we have wings? Venom just ignores the questions and tells Eddie, "They tried to burn my connection to the light. They tried to burn my connection away from you and absorb me for his horde. But with this attempt to connect, we find out that they are capable of so much more comes to his powers. But what the downside is, Knull is able to watch them from afar, and he will be back." But the Venom symbiote does say he has an idea to stop them, but they need to deal with something first. Venom begins to fly off as he flies back to Rex's hideout, kicking through the ceiling window, yelling at Rex that he knows everything now, and punches his head completely through. And from here, he says, "Show us your teeth," and he begins to regenerate. He comes to find out that this whole time Rex was a symbiote. He took over the identity of the real Rex who died in Vietnam during an explosion after a fight between the symbiotes versus Rex, Wolverine, and a cybernetic Nick Fury. And we see that Rex is the last key to the puzzle for the Grendel symbiote to release Knull. So with no other option, Eddie reaches out to his hand and says, "Join us, we are strong together." Eddie begins to let Rex take over as they begin to walk down the halls, and he says, "If we're going to fight them, we're going to bring the thunder," showing them his arsenal of assorted weapons hanging all over the walls. Eddie grabs everything, and I mean everything. Rifles, blasters, energy weapons, and even a sword. Eddie begins to talk to Rex and says, "Let's kill us, a dragon controlled by an elder god." They walk up to the roof and begin to wait. A short time passes by, and Eddie senses a dragon close by when out of nowhere the Grendel symbiote crashes trying to eat them. Eddie jumps out of the way, landing on the second floor. He stands back up and shoots a green laser at the dragon, but when it still advances, he holds the mouth open as little arms come out of his side and they begin to fling grenades inside its mouth. And with a giant bang, the dragon explodes and out comes Knull, ready to take out Venom. Venom shoots a second shot through his chest, but that doesn't stop him, and he begins to absorb Venom himself. They're pushing Eddie out of the fight. Eddie stands back up and looks at Knull tangled with more grenades covering him as they begin to explode, shooting out bursts of electricity, severing Knull's link with everything. The Venom symbiote begins to attach itself to Eddie once more, saying Rex had sacrificed himself in the explosion to protect them. But the mixed version of Knull and the Grendel symbiote begin to reform. But out of nowhere, we do see that Rex did survive, and he wraps himself around Knull, yelling for Venom to open up the blast doors as they jump in together. Eddie begins to hold the door back, but it's too hot. He hears the Venom symbiote screaming, and it starts to detach from him. But with this, nothing is in between him and the furnace, and Eddie starts to catch on fire, screaming in pain as he holds the door down. His head in flames, he falls to the ground, and a little piece of venom spits out of his mouth, saying, "It was too much. I should have told you. I love you, Eddie." And all we hear is silence in a room filled with blood and venom. If you guys like this stuff, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button. If you guys want me to do any other characters like this or any other videos of other characters, make sure to tell me in the comments down below. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.